Hello and welcome to Forever Rugby Beyond Forever Sports and an interesting topic for today's video. The best Springbok team ever, question mark. And this is one of the debates, one of the many debates that are currently raging on social media in friendship circles and pubs and stuff like that. And it's a very good one. It's a very fun one. And in many ways, it's a bit of a pointless exercise to a certain degree. But at the end of the day, this is what's fun about being sports fans is we get to have these debates, we get to have these discussions and stuff like that. And yes, some people will sit there saying it's a pointless exercise. You can't, compare cross generations, and I agree, and 100%. But it'll be pretty boring, isn't it, if you could just not compare anything because of sort of technicalities and stuff like that. So today we're going to be talking about this particular Springbok team and where they rank within Springbok teams, previous generations. Before we do, please do smash like on the video. Please do subscribe to the channel as well. And right, so let's talk about this team, shall we? Back-to-back world champions, the first Springbok team ever to do it. British and Irish Lions series winners, and the first ever team to go back-to-back World Cup winners, as well as win an Lions series in that sort of same sort of period of time. Yes, chances are if, that New Zealand team from 2011, 2015 had faced the original Irish Lions in like 2013, would have very likely have won. But we don't know that. They unfortunately for them, they faced them in 2017 and it was a drawn series. Also, by the time you get to then, you're now talking almost about two different generations, really. So it's a very interesting conversation to be had. So let's look at some of the great Springbok teams. Some people talk about, the 1995 World Cup team as the greatest ever, given the circumstances. How many years out in isolation, no sort of real experience. A team that was sort of thrown together, didn't have a lot of time to adapt, and they went on to go and win a World Cup against the odds. 2007 World Cup winning team. They also won a British and Irish Lions series 2 years later in 2009. So these are some of the of the big debates. Now, if we look at, for example, teams via coaches, that's also an interesting thing to look at. If we talk about coaches had win percentages. So, for example, Nick Mallett is the most successful Springbok coach post-isolation in terms of his win rate. He won 71% of his matches. He's in charge of 38 tests, winning 27, losing just 11. You'll talk about, for example, the Rassie Erasmus era, 2008-2019. It was only 2 years, 26 matches, 65% win rate. Ironically, Jacques Nienaber actually has the second best win percentage of any coaches sort of post-isolation in the new sort of rugby era with 68%. He took charge of 37 matches, won 25, lost 12, including a British and Irish Lions series victory and a Rugby World Cup, obviously. And then was also obviously in charge of the defense during the 2019 World Cup victory. So, again, it's an interesting exercise, isn't it? Because what determines great teams? Are we talking win percentage? That's why everybody sort of thinks of that 2011, 2015, generation of All Blacks as the best team ever. And yes, they did win 2 World Cups. But it was also that they just didn't lose games. They won like every single Rugby Championship during that era. They went on ridiculous runs, and they were just untouchable. They were hands down a different level to every other team. The reason I think that this team deserves to be up there with the greats is beyond just the records, the literal British and Irish Lions series victory, the 2 World Cups, is I think we're talking about World Rugby being currently the most competitive space it's ever been. And they are the most successful team at a time where I think it's the hardest to be the most successful team. Because I think, we're talking about, a golden generation of Ireland players, a golden generation of Scottish players, a New Zealand side, which, a lot of people we're talking about it being a bad New Zealand side. I think it's just the case that everyone's finally caught up to New Zealand, and this New Zealand side just doesn't have, there's not that much more to go. There isn't this massive difference where they could find. We're talking about a golden generation of French players. So we're talking about a time where I think World Rugby is more competitive than ever, and the Springboks have gone back-to-back world champions. I wouldn't say they've dominated this era. They haven't won rugby championships. They won in 2019, but that was it. So they haven't won rugby championships, which is something we'd like to have done. Haven't gone, flawless outgoing series. You know, lost to France last year, lost to Ireland. So this team have lost matches. But I think for me, what makes them the greatest side, you know, from a South African perspective, is I think that they've continued to prove people wrong at every single step. Every single time they've been written off, they've been told they're not good enough. They've been told they're, you know, as individual players that aren't good enough. They've managed to come together and always proven people wrong and always managed to do what is deemed the impossible. You know, nobody gave them a chance in 2019. Nobody gave them a chance in 2021 to beat the British and Irish Lions after not having played for a year due to COVID. And nobody really gave them much chance of going back to back this year, and they've done it. So I want to know what you think. Is this the greatest Springbok team ever? Let me know down in the comments below. Please do smash like on the video. Please do subscribe to the channel. I personally think it is. I think this is the greatest Springbok team for many reasons. I think, you know, it's a team that fully represents the people. It's a team that is completely picked on merit and yet is very transformed, and not just from a pure numbers basis, but we're talking about a team that's integrated, a team that, you know, where there is no internal issues. It's a genuine, you know, team of 50, 60 by the time you add all the various, you know, extra people in and around there that are just together, and it's just such a good environment. So from that perspective, you know, what they've done on not only the rugby field but off the rugby field, I don't think this team is matched by any Springbok team in the past. Let me know if you have a different opinion down in the comments below. And yeah, thank you very much for watching. My name is Steve. I'll chat to you soon.